This to Select Committee for consideration.
I call the Honourable Member Ian McKelvey.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. A little bonus time on my feet tonight, this time to speak against a very short-sighted, in my view, a very short-sighted bill, the Electricity Renewable Preference Amendment Bill, which reenacts the ban on thermal energy generation. Mr Speaker, I fully understand that it reenacts the ban for 10 years, but I think there's a few other things that need to be pointed out in the course of this discussion, and I just want to pick up on one of the points that the previous speaker made, and that I see no reason for this bill to be forwarded to a select committee. It just takes a whole lot more time of this House to decide something that really, frankly, will end up with the status quo, because common sense tells you it needs to. Mr Speaker, this type of bill, or this type of action, along with the promotion of a advanced ETS system, puts a significant amount of pressure on the average New Zealand energy consumer. And I'm certainly not in favour of that. I'm also not in favour of either the previous speaker's single generator or the proposal for a single buyer for electricity. And I want to explain briefly why. In rural New Zealand, our biggest power charges by far are our lines charges. They have nothing to do with the electricity supply. And if you want to go and live in a place like Taumarunui National Park, Owakuni, or any of those little parts of New Zealand that are most important to our tourism industry and to the future of this country, you'll find that your lines charge is significantly higher than your electricity portion of your bill. In fact, they don't get the lines charge and the electricity portion of the bill, they get them separately. So I guess for that part of New Zealand, they clearly understand where the cost of electricity is. It's in the distribution cost for those of us in rural New Zealand. That, Mr Speaker, is the challenge for the electricity industry, in my view. To ban thermal industry at a time when there's potential for modern, efficient, environmental friendly methods of thermal generation becoming available to us, and it's quite possible it will, I think would be irresponsible. It's a resource that, in my view, if we can use safely and sustainably as a country, we should. And again, the previous speaker referred to some of the reasons for that. We clearly, some of us have longer memories than others, and can clearly remember the time when electricity was not something you took for granted at your gate, because some days it didn't turn up. And in fact, in rural New Zealand, we still find that on the odd occasion, but not because of a shortage of power supply. My region, Mr Speaker, is covered in windmills, and whilst I don't object to them, I can only see them. I don't have to live beside them or put up with the noise and the vibration of them. So I also think, Mr Speaker, that in the future we're going to see windmills dotting New Zealand's landscape like derelict dairy factories in Taranaki. There'll be one on every corner, and they'll be rusting. So, Mr Speaker, that's another reason I'm not particularly in favour of fiddling with the electricity generating process. Not so long ago, in fact about half an hour ago, we were talking about a bill that's preserving our native and natural environment, Mr Speaker, and I don't think that that it's efficient for us to I guess, use more of our, and I know they're called sustainable resources and things that will last forever, but in fact a lot of them don't, and I referred to the windmills earlier. I think we have a responsibility to future generations to look at alternatives and to use those resources that we have in abundance in New Zealand, provided we use them responsibly and use them in a manner in which they, that provides for a sustainable future for this country. I don't think it's our business to run Parliament as a type of a game of Monopoly, and I think bills like this tend to do that to some extent. Mr Speaker, this bill achieves little, as there will be no new thermal generation or electricity plants built in New Zealand in the next few years, probably for 10, because we have sufficient electricity in this country to sustain our future. I wouldn't like to be the person trying to obtain a consent to build one of those plants under the current environment anyway. So, Mr Speaker, I can't support this bill, and that's me.
I call the Honourable Marianne Street.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. It gives me great pleasure to rise to speak